Good afternoon, everyone. This was a bit of an impromptu thing. I just thought, you know what? If you're going to talk about the general election and you're going to talk about American Independence Day and you're going to talk about things which are important to you, then why not look the part? Why turn up looking scruffy? You don't need to look like a bag of shit all the time, you know? Anyway, yes, I'm wearing my reformed tie because I'm a reformed person. Anyway, yeah, general election today, 4th of July. Today is a significant date for me. It is not only the 4th of July, American Independence Day. 4th of July, 1776 is when America got its independence from British rule. If you didn't know, that took place. Today is also the 4th of July, which is 30 years ago today. I signed on the dotted line and took my oath of allegiance in a place called Palace Barracks in Hollywood, the Hollywood Road in Belfast. Yes, so it's a big day and it's a general election. And believe it or not, I was a paid up member of UKIP up until about a week and a half ago. I'm going to be honest, and I've said for months, and I even told the UKIP team that I was throwing my vote towards the Reform Party because I believed that that was the party that struck a chord with me with their policies. They struck a chord with me of what they want to achieve. Now, I've watched everything. I've been over this morning. I have voted for my local Reform candidate, Matt Jackson. He's an upstanding guy. I mean, I'm sure they're scrutinised. I'm sure candidates for Reform are scrutinised by the MSM more than any other party. They really, really are, which is quite sad, but it's fact. That's what happens. Right. So why did I vote for Reform? Well, I like Nigel Farage. I like Richard Tice. Richard Tice is a businessman, so he knows how to make profits. He knows how to get companies to expand. He knows what he needs to do to get a workforce back together. He's a businessman. Nigel's a politician. Nigel knows what works. So is there any other leader in there that you can see today that you could happily go and have a pint with and have a chat with and discuss ordinary things? No, there isn't. So that's why I went with him. I've met Nigel. I've interviewed Richard Tice, the chairman of UKIP. And I've had a long chat with Nigel when I was down at the GB News offices. I like what they stand for. You've got to bear in mind that when you look at the other part, now, this is what I don't like about politics. I don't like how people start attacking the other party rather than say, this is what we want to achieve. So with reforms, they want to achieve lots of things. They want to increase the British Army. They want the British Army by 30,000, which is fantastic. They want to redefine a ministry for Veterans Affairs because the one that the Conservative Party has failed. And they want to increase our GDP, our defence spending by 3%. Well, they want to bring it to 3%. It's about 2.4, 2.5 at the minute. But they want that spending done on our forces. At the minute, a lot of our defence spending is being given away abroad. Now, whether you like this or not, I'm going to bring in Ukraine. Now, Nigel was criticised because he said he believed that the West had poked Putin far too much and he's retaliated. I'm going to be honest, I tend to agree with that. There's more to it, clearly, but I tend to agree with that stance. In the Second World War, they signed a treaty, the Moscow Treaty. If you don't know, please look it up. They signed the Moscow Treaty, and there was agreements there for Russia, America, Britain, the West, Germany. We all agreed certain things, and it was to take certain sectors of Germany and to do things and to put things in place where there would never be a war again. Well, since that treaty was signed, the Second World War, what you will find is the USSR has broken up. It's broken up, different countries. But that wasn't part of the treaty. Now, I'm not saying you cannot do what you want as an independent country. But what you can't do as the West is try and capitalize on that by making all these countries part of NATO, and you're creeping and creeping and creeping, and then putting military bases there and ballistic missiles there. So we have went against the treaty. We have, and whether you like it or not, it's a fact. So there's never any justification for war. War is when politicians break down and they can't sit down and discuss things. They turn to violence, and it's wrong. I'm a firm believer that if a politician wants to go to war, then maybe you need to look at that politician and remove that individual who nobody wants to send our sons and daughters and mums and dads into battle. It's a wrong thing. So he said that. Now, I've also listened to ex-Special Forces guys in the US and many podcasts. I'm not saying that's the law or not saying that's fact, but the gist I get is that the West needs to keep the Ukraine war going. Believe it or not, it costs millions, billions to dispose of weapon systems. Did you know that missiles, did you know that ammunition has an out of date? It all has a past date where it can't be used. So rather than countries like the US spend billions in destroying ammunition, in my opinion, I believe that Ukraine is being used to dispose of all our excess weapon systems, while in the background we are getting new military contracts for new up-to-date weapon systems. So it suits the West to keep it going. I would like to bring the Ukraine war to an end. We all would. We all would. So I don't think our current Prime Minister wants to bring anything to an end. People kept telling me, but Trevor's done well with the pandemic. Sunak's done well with the money that he gave out. And I'm like, well, did he? We all have short memories, don't we? Do we not remember when the UK placed sanctions on Russia and no one was allowed to do business in Russia? Do you remember that? Now, there was one company that continued to do business in Russia, and that was Rishi Sunak's wife. Her company continued to do business in Moscow when every other business couldn't do it. Now, I remember him being questioned on this, and his answer was, "My wife has nothing to do with me. It's her business." But you've just put sanctions on every other business across the UK, but you've left your wife outside the barrier. Now, that's a fact. Go and have a look at it, please. Look up the information. It will be there. I do believe that there was pressure applied on his wife through the media and through different people, and eventually that did stop. That did stop. But I'm all for it. So we've got that. Now, we have seen year after year after year after year that Labour, who are, believe it, the opposition, and they do have a say in Westminster. They do have a say in Westminster, as well as the government. But none of them have stopped the votes, have they? In fact, the Labour Party wants to reduce the voting age to 16. So it gets the students. The Labour Party want to abolish student fees. But they also want to take away inheritance tax, and they want older people to contribute more. That's in today's papers, that's everywhere. So they want to hammer the elderly, a bit like the BBC. Labour and Conservative are two sides, they're two cheeks of the same ass. There's no way that either of them should govern the country. We need change. Who do we go for? Well, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think that Nigel deserves a bite of the cherry. He deserves a chance. I honestly believe that people should get out and vote. Of course I do. I went over this morning to my polling station, and outside the polling station was a Labour candidate with a rosette and a Liberal Democrat with a rosette. Right outside the polling station. Now, in my opinion, I would make that illegal. You should not be lobbying people right at the polling station. I think it's wrong. It is what it is. It's a shame. In fact, the Liberal Democrats have given up. They gave up months ago, didn't they? In fact, their leader just went round theme parks making a dickhead of himself, didn't he? Going down slides and bungee jumping and all. That's just saying that I don't care. It's quite strange. But there we go. You've got to remember that Sir Keir Starmer, who is the leader of the Labour Party, was in charge of the Crown Prosecution Service when he said about Rotherham grooming gangs, there's nothing to see here. Do you remember that? Well, there we go. That's the person you want to put in front of your country. Go for it. I'm all for trying to give a new party a chance. Why not? The Reform Party, believe it or not, has so far over 45,000 paid members. That's fantastic, isn't it? And they're saying they're going to get 18 seats. That will be better than the Liberal Dems. I'm hoping that they'll get more seats. I'm hoping people will wake up and go and vote. If you wake up tomorrow and you haven't bothered to vote and someone's on your TV that you're not happy to see, it's your fault for not getting off your ass and voting. I can tell you now that the guys I used to serve with, I served with a few women as well, but the guys I served with were all for Britain. They were all for the UK. They wanted the best for their children. Do you know what? The best for your children will not be with Conservative, and it certainly won't be with Labour. I honestly believe the best thing I can do to those that aren't here is to get out and vote for a guy who believes in the United Kingdom. There we go. What else does he want to do? Well, if Nigel gets in, I can tell you now he will put pressure on whoever's in government for us to leave the European Court of Human Rights. We do not need to be in the European Court of Human Rights. It holds back lots of things. Believe it or not, being a member of the European Court of Human Rights hinders the UK from progressing. And I'll tell you why. Those that cause us harm, those that mean us harm, and those that do heinous crimes are protected under the European Court of Human Rights. Child traffickers are protected under the European Court of Human Rights. Yeah. Those that want to do machete attacks, those that want to blow up shopping centres are protected under the European Court of Human Rights. How do we stop these people from entering our country? Well, we can't, because they're protected under the European Court of Human Rights. The minute we leave that, we will be able to control our laws again. Won't that be fantastic? And for those that say Brexit this and Brexit that, well, the truth is we did leave the EU, but we haven't completely left everything. And that is because even though the people voted to leave, the politicians voted to stay. So those in government now and in the opposition are still heavily tied into the European Union. They never want, even those in the House of Lords. So if we have a party in place that believes in Britain and wants us out, I can assure you there will be a lot, but there'll be a better quality of life with decent politicians. There we go, people. Yeah. Well, anyway, listen, I have harped on for 13 minutes. Let me have a look here. Let me have a look at the questions. Paula 2, Lindsay, Curry, do you always do as you are told without questioning anything? They told us to use pencil. Yes, well, when you go to vote, they go, can I see your photographic ID? And you show them, and they check you. They check your serial number, they give you a piece of paper, and you go to a little booth. And in that booth is a pencil. I can tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, I did not use the pencil. I pulled out a black pen from my pocket, and I did a black pen. The one thing that I'll never get my head around is they want to make sure that we're voting. So they're so crucially to find out that we're definitely voting and they mark us off. But they don't seem that concerned to make sure that it's a permanent mark on the card. They're happy with a pencil. And I think that is wrong. And I don't trust politicians and I don't trust the government. So I take my own black pen and I did it myself. There we go. Indigo Blue 57, well done. Spot on today. Else, thank you. But we thought out, well thought out, Trev. Thank you very much, Billy. Now, listen, people. The one thing that I will say, and I'll make it quite clear. If you vote any other party today, Labour, Conservative, Lib Dems, Green, good. You've made a decision. You've went and you've made a conscious decision and you voted. It's not for me or anyone else to start berating you or attacking you. It's your decision. I give you the reason why I voted for reform. And that's how it should be. If my neighbour votes Labour, I'm still going to talk to her. She's a lovely person. You don't go around attacking people. I've noticed this today, though. Why are you voting them? You're a this, you're a that. Don't attack people because they vote differently. They've got different needs than you. Let them do it. It's meant to be democratic. Okay? Debs, you used your own pen. Good. Stuart Brown, it's truth. It's true though. Yep. JP well said. Black pen defo. Yep. Took pen too. Yep. Don't use blue pen. Always use black pen. I'm just saying. Anyway, people, listen, I've given you my thoughts. Have a wonderful day. Let's hope that Nigel gets elected in Clacton. They love him down there. I also would like to see Richard Tice get elected. He's a decent guy, a businessman, and he knows what to do. My candidate, my local candidate, Matt Jackson's a decent guy. I voted for him. Let's see. Come Saturday, we'll really know, won't we? One thing's for sure. Come the end of the weekend, Rishi Sunak will not be Prime Minister anymore. Well, he brought in the furlough. He meant well, but it's now gone over his head. Anyway, listen, have a wonderful day, people. Thanks for watching. Thanks to those who have came across to my Instagram. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And let's keep positive. Let's keep moving forward. Take care.